disagree with you, Max Kellerman. I'm kind of figuring that you were in the sunshine in Southern California, about 3,000 miles away. You didn't want to pay any attention to any cold weather cities like Philadelphia, because I can assure you that this is definitely in Chip Kelly's makeup, his mindset. He is exactly the kind of dude. He's trying to light a fire under Colin Kaepernick so he can run Colin Kaepernick will run his own behind out of town, as opposed to Chip Kelly having to do it for him. Keep in mind that this is the same Chip Kelly that gave Colin Kaepernick permission to sit up there and seek a trade, and Colin Kaepernick thought he was going to end up going to Denver, but he didn't want to take a pay cut, so he ended up back in San Francisco by default, which basically means to Chip Kelly that you really didn't want to be here, therefore I don't want you either, but since we got to pay you at least $11 million, the hell with it, I'm going to sit up here and keep you in uniform, but I damn sure ain't planning or relying upon you. So here we go with Blaine Gabbert. Now let me say this about Blaine Gabbert. I've never really watched Blaine Gabbert. I remember he got drafted 10th overall by Jacksonville in 2011. I remember seeing him a couple of times over the years where he looked as petrified as a lost puppy in the pocket. Looked like he was shivering in his figurative boots, for crying out loud. Didn't appear to have any heart whatsoever. The flip side to this is that has a strong arm, has good athleticism, seems to have the tools in shorts to do a lot of different things. In other words, not in uniform. You know, when he's out there practicing, you know, he looks beautiful. He looks absolutely sensational, okay? But I'm going to defer to my boy that used to work here, my man Chris Carter. You know that Hall of Fame wide receiver that was an exceptional NFL?
I'm aware of him, yes.
I'm gonna lean on him. What he used to make it a priority to say every Sunday morning at least, and sometimes on Mondays on Mike and Mike. Blaine Gabbert stinks. That's what he said. It's not me, because I'm not qualified to say somebody stinks if I've barely watched them, because Blaine Gabbert has no interest in me. I have no interest in Blaine Gabbert whatsoever. But Chris Carter watched him, and he kept saying, Blaine Gabbert stinks. That's what he said. And I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with a Hall of Fame wide receiver telling me when a quarterback stinks.
So wait, you're saying Jaws said on the one hand that Kaepernick has the chance, has the potential to be the best ever, and on the other hand, Chris Carter said Blaine Gabbert stinks.
Yes,
best ever stinks.
Now, when it comes to Jaws, I would say I believe in Jaws as well. However, I'm imitating Jaws, Jaworski here. But here's the point. In the end, Colin Kaepernick, we've seen what he could do. We haven't really seen if Blaine Gabbert could do anything, even though he threw for 2,000 yards and 10 touchdowns last year with 7 interceptions. Here's what we have seen, and here's where your notion is outweighed. We've seen what Kaepernick has done. We haven't seen much from Gabbert, but we know who Chip Kelly is. And Chip Kelly is the kind of guy that will do everything he can to facilitate Blaine Gabbert getting the job for the sole express purpose that Colin Kaepernick wanted to leave. That's enough for Chip Kelly. He didn't want to be here. He didn't want to be here. He tried to leave. That's Chip Kelly. That's the Chip Kelly that's been in Philadelphia.
You're assuming that Chip Kelly has learned nothing from his first stop in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Why assume that?
Well, I say
matter of fact,
you know why.
Because he got a job too fast? Because he got another job too fast?
Because he got a job too fast, because of ego, and there's nothing to challenge it when you get a job that damn fast. If everybody's been telling me I stink and I'm wrong, but 3 weeks later I'm getting $6 million a year after getting fired, what have I really learned?
I will tell you.
What have I learned?
What you've learned is that your first job was a disaster, partly because you believe that...
He's not going to say it's a disaster. He was 26-21.
Partly because, well, you inherited a team, and then you made decisions over personnel, and then it became a disaster.
Right.
Like, based on your judgment and your ability to communicate with players, right?
Right.
And now you go to a place where the guy who you
he wants to play, and these guys having to make the adjustment to that could be an adjustment as well. There's too many question marks. I think it's a mistake.
Who are you starting, Kaepernick or Gabbert?
Me personally, I'm starting Colin Kaepernick.
Me too. You know why? Because he's better. And Chip Kelly, job on the line, just win on Sunday. This kind of mentality, in the end, he's going to go for the better player.
If Chip Kelly starts Colin Kaepernick, it would be because of Colin Kaepernick's ability to run the football, and because Blaine.
Throw it downfield.
I'm just telling you what he would believe, and because of that, and because Blaine Gabbert hasn't shown him enough. But if Blaine Gabbert shows him anything,